Good Sunday morning, Northeast Ohio, as our attention continues to be focused on two parallel stories playing out, the election and transition, as well as the surge in coronavirus cases. Both, of course, interconnected as the nation turns to Washington to see what the next step will be. Here in Ohio, the surge in cases is taking its toll on our healthcare system, and that is especially true, we found, in the rural hospitals. The new color-coded coronavirus map of Ohio shows a sea of red, a color once seen only in the state's largest counties, now sprawling across almost all 88. As a result,
it's taking an enormous human toll on our healthcare workers,
especially in rural Ohio.
There's some hospitals that are at capacity when it comes to what they've allocated for COVID specific treatment. And so what they're doing is some of them are making adjustments to convert other areas of the hospital or the facility to take on more COVID.
The Ohio Hospital Association is in constant communication with its member hospitals, who are in constant communication with others in their region. Ohio is broken up into 8 of them working together should patients need to be diverted if they're reaching capacity.
We saw a lot of that activity early in the spring when there are some surges happening around the prisons and in nursing homes. We saw that type of coordination happening to make sure patients got to facilities that were able to take them.
Let's put the rural numbers, though, in perspective. This is a list ranking the counties where there is the highest rate of occurrence. 4 of the top 5 counties have populations under 50,000, including the number 1 on the list, Putnam County, just west of Findlay. The 429 cases they've seen over a 2-week period is small compared to, say, Cuyahoga County's 4,700, but their population's a mere fraction of the size. So that's equal to 1.2% of all their residents getting COVID in just a 2-week period. That same percentage, if it was in Cuyahoga County, would equal 15,000 new cases. And again, that's a number reflective of just a 2-week period. But it's not just about the physical. More hospital beds can be added, more ventilators built, more PPE ordered. It's about the personal, the doctors and nurses that can only be stretched so far for so long. And while Ohio was in a position back in the spring to help out other states with their surges by sending our healthcare workers out, it's a favor that those states would not likely be in a position to return right now because of what we are seeing nationally. Another thing to keep in mind, the Ohio Hospital Association said, is the fact that hospitals are losing right now $6 million a day, $4 billion so far because of the pandemic. Now, some of that money has been offset by CARES Act funding from Washington, something that Senator Sherrod Brown told me we need desperately more of.
Well, we can take the pressure off rural hospitals and big city hospitals alike by having the funding they need. There's still too many cases where President Trump played state off against state, saying, hey, it's up to you. And then the states have to scramble and hospitals within a state have to scramble to get their fair share instead of the federal government running it as President Roosevelt or Reagan or Clinton or Obama or Bush had done on other national emergencies, and as they would do it today. So it's pretty clear how we do this. It's just a question of providing the resources.
A task made more difficult, especially in this lame duck period between the election and the inauguration. The election, of course, still very much a sore point for so many people, especially in the swing areas of the country, western Pennsylvania, eastern Ohio. Our Joe St. George caught up with some of them.
Just give it a second and it'll...
When you leave the big cities,
We're in Ligonier, Pennsylvania,
and head to places where burning leaves are common this time of year, you realize Joe Biden may be president-elect, but there's still plenty of support for President Trump.
Since I was 18, I voted Democrat every time except for this election. I voted for Trump.
Out here, you meet people like Scott Will, who for the first time in his life voted Republican. Nationwide, President Trump received around 10 million more votes than 4 years ago. That's more votes than any president in history, except Joe Biden.
My dad, he's a Joe Biden fan. He's called me and teasing me about it.
While President Trump lost, his campaign did better in several key areas. In Kenosha County, Wisconsin, President Trump did 3% better than 4 years ago. In Miami-Dade County, Florida, President Trump did 12% better. And in Youngstown, Ohio, an area known as the Mahoning Valley, President Trump actually turned the county Republican for the first time since Eisenhower. For perspective, in 2008, the Obama-Biden ticket won here by 30 points.
The funny thing is, Trump stole the Democratic message. Can the Democrats steal it back?
Paul Sarasic is a political scientist at Youngstown State University. He says Trump's legacy may be forever changing key regions politically. Sarasic says voters who blamed old trade deals for job losses liked that President Trump got rid of some of them and promised the old jobs back.
They were waiting to hear that message. Trump didn't create these voters. They were waiting for Trump.
Whether this country can be united after this election will come down to places like Youngstown. Will they give President-elect Biden a shot? What do they think of the election result?
To me, it's confusing.
At Thanos Restaurant, we met Ken Morrow, who in 2016...
I voted for Bernie.
But this time around,
Voted Republican this time.
he says for the moment he doesn't know what to think about the result, but he says President-elect Biden needs to keep his message simple.
We need a lot of good paying jobs around here. Everything is gone.
I'm very, very conservative.
In regards to respecting the president-elect,
You know, he's going to be my president because I'm an American and I'm a patriot.
every Trump voter we talked to, like Gene Hasey, says the office will get their respect. But they told us respect doesn't mean unity. Achieving unity will be a tall task.
I think it's going to be very hard. Very, very hard.
In Youngstown, Ohio, I'm Joe St. George.
The one positive side, I guess, of the pandemic forcing us to limit our Thanksgiving circle. With Democracy 2020, I'm John Kosich. Enjoy your Sunday. Stay safe.